The men's national semis, Texas USC, Oregon, Illinois. The Texas SC match would come down to 2 matches on the golf course, including Beau Hossler, the 4th-ranked amateur in the world, first-team All-American, in serious discomfort, a major amount of pain with a shoulder injury that first appeared at 16. It comes through again on 17. But he stays in and at this point decides to go with the putter because he can no longer swing the club. It's the putter out of a bunker. He's to there in 3, would have this for par, and to move Texas on to the national championship match. Are you serious, Beau Hossler? One arm in the air, he can only lift one arm, and Hossler finds a way to lift Texas to the national championship match. The finals are set. Golf Central's on the air.
Southern California 4.
Golf Central. Brought to you by Titleist.
More semifinal matching. Oregon and Illinois, the hometown Ducks looking to pull off the improbable upset. And of all men, Sulman Raza does it at 18. The All-American Aaron Wise, inconsequential because Raza and the Ducks moving on, defeating Illinois, and it will be Texas and Oregon in the national championship on Wednesday. And if Wednesday is half as good as Tuesday, we are in for an all-timer. Unbelievable drama out on the golf course right here at Eugene Country Club as Texas. Believe me, that score does not indicate what the Longhorns went through to make it to the championship match. And Oregon somehow once again finding a way. Illinois, a major favorite. The hometown Ducks in front of the hometown crowd, moving on to the national final. Sometimes you just have to sit back and say, wow, that's what we have to do today. Wow. Incredible stuff here at Eugene Country Club. Ryan Burr along with Aaron Oberholzer, Buddy Alexander, 2-time national champion head coach at Florida. Tough to find a place to start because what Oregon has done is truly amazing. But a story that will be talked about not only this week, this year, for years to come, is what Beau Hossler and Texas did on 16 and 17, putting out of a bunker to lead his team to the national championship.
It's the college golf equivalent of what Tiger Woods did in 08 at the U.S. Open, basically winning on one leg, okay? Obviously, it's not a U.S. Open, but it's the college golf equivalent to it, people. I mean, he was in serious discomfort, serious pain. We don't know what's wrong with the shoulder, obviously, but you could tell how badly he was hurt with the swings that he was making. And for him to putt out of a bunker, buddy, you know the pain was really intense. And to come up with that par when his team needed the goods the most, that is why you've got to look at him as the Haskins Award winner. He'd get my vote at this point. I mean, just seeing that. What an incredible day of golf overall. This is why I love college golf. You don't get this kind of theater in a lot of other places in match play.
It makes Willis Reed look minor. All right? I mean, here he comes out of the tunnel with one arm, buddy. Have you ever seen anything quite like it?
I haven't. I really have not ever seen anything like this. And, unfortunately, if he can't go tomorrow, they don't get to replace him.
No.
And they will start one down. But back to today, I've never seen anything like it. And you made the reference that Tiger had a similar situation. And nothing.
He could still swing the golf
exactly.
club, though. Yeah.
No disrespect to Tiger.
This might be even worse.
No disrespect to Tiger, but he only had one arm to go with here.
Yeah, I know.
And just taking the words of his head coach, it looks beyond bad that he's going to be able to play tomorrow. I mean, as you said, we're going to wait and see what he's on his way to a hospital to have this thing, an MRI and an X-ray. But the early accounts are this is not a heal and feel better tomorrow morning and be able to play.
This is not 2 Advil and you'll be fine on the first tee tomorrow. No. Speaking from a guy who's dealt with plenty of injuries, plenty of serious ones, that looks like a serious injury to me. And I hope it's not terribly serious. But it looks like Texas is going to be without their star tomorrow to start, which means they will start, as you pointed out, Coach, down 1-0 on that first tee.
Incredible drama for sure. Let's move quickly to Oregon and Illinois just to get a brief comment on that, Coach, as the Ducks really have come from nowhere and used this home course advantage, this home crowd electrifying them. They had the individual national champion, Aaron Wise, didn't even need him today to win his match to advance on to the finals.
Well, that was great theater as well. And the crowd was fabulous. I mean, after they won, there was this Oregon chant that, of course, I don't know anything about, but it sounded pretty cool. But there was some good play in that match as well, and congratulations to Casey Martin. He's moving on, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of hometown people out here pulling for the Ducks tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance of that.
Yeah, Oregon just did what they needed to do, and I thought those three matches in the middle, I said in the morning that they were going to be the key, and they ended up being the key.
Two incredible matches. It's difficult to start with one. We'll show you plenty of the great shots from both, and there were plenty of great shots. But let's begin with the tail of the tape here as Texas comes in as the #1 overall seed. Remember, USC last year beat Texas in the quarterfinals. The Trojans went all the way to the finals where they lost to LSU. On paper, a great match heading into today's semifinals. Only one would advance. Let's get to the highlights of this thing. And we pick it up with our first match of Taylor Funk and Rico Hoey. Hoey has been unbelievable this week, and we pick him up at the par 4 fifth hole.
Yeah, Rico has been incredible this week. 4-1 in match play the last 2 years after this absolute shellacking that he put on Taylor Funk today. Just a display of ball striking and putting. The game was in full flight today for Rico Hoey.
And he goes 3 up through 5 holes. Hoey continues to keep the pressure on, his 3rd at the 7th.
Beautiful little pitch shot here across the green, one of the tougher holes on the golf course here at Eugene, a converted par 5. And, oh, hello, why not? I saw more hole outs today, Ryan, than I've seen in a long time. And you guys were chipping in and putting them in from everywhere.
It was electrifying. Hoey goes on to win 6 and 5. USC puts the first point on the board as they lead 1-0. Now Doug Gim against Justin Suh from USC. Gim at the 15th, the par 5, this to win the match.
Yeah, Doug Gim has been a very solid player all year. He's been hot this week, and he puts that one away pretty quickly. 4-3.
Gim wins 4 and 3. So it's 1 for USC, 1 for Texas on the scoreboard. Moving to Gavin Hall, Jonah Texera. Hall at the 4th, eagle putt, 2 to win.
Yeah, these guys got up early and they got up fast. Those last 2 matches for Texas, and it was really no stopping them. The USC Texera tried to make a little run in the back, but just couldn't get it done.
So he would win and go 3 up. Texera now at the 15th. This par putt to extend. And Hall wins 4 and 3. So Texas now 2 on the board as they lead USC 2-1. Now things start to get very, very interesting. Bo Hostler taking on Andrew Levitt. Hostler at the first hole. This is when the magic starts.
Yeah, this is just a little chip from right in front of the green there, and boom, he's 1 up.
So 1 up out of the gates for Hostler, off to a great start for Hostler. I'm sure he wishes he could end it right there. 15th hole now. Hostler, short birdie putt, goes 1 up with 3 to play. Now things get real interesting. Hostler at 16. This kind of comes out of nowhere, Aaron.
Yes, that does come out of nowhere. Really not sure exactly when he hurt this, but that's the first time that we saw him react like that today on the 16th, and it ended up in a very nice spot where you want to hit it to be safe.
We've seen a lot of balls in the water there. It's incredible with what happened that the ball stayed dry.
It did stay dry.
And then because he doesn't have to take a full swing, he does this.
Beware of the hurt golfer.
Chips in for birdie. So Hostler 2 up with 2 to play. But, Coach, we wondered, would he be able to continue and finish the match?
Well, you got to give him a lot of credit. He gets up there and gives it a whack, and it's the same result. He's obviously in a whole lot of pain. And the amazing thing to me is that he hung in there long enough to hit it in the club face and get it down there in a pretty reasonable position, just like he did on the 16th tee.
So he takes what essentially is a medical timeout here.
That's correct.
They gave him a good 15 minutes to try to have it taped up and figure out what his decision would be.
They let the match behind him go through, gave him a little time to see what he had, and then boom, same thing. It just, man,
Looked like he tried to take one more club, swinging a little easy there, Coach.
He definitely swung easy, but it's painful to watch.
And if I can interject here quickly, this is a guy that at 17 led the U.S. Open, The plans were to turn professional, to try to get exempt on the PGA Tour through exemptions. This is a player that certainly has aspirations of being one of the great players on the PGA Tour. He now has to decide whether to continue to play or not. We showed you he goes to the putter out of a bunker. Coach, all your years, have you ever seen it?
Oh, I've seen people putt out of a bunker, but that wouldn't have been one of those kinds.
Because they were bad bunker players.
Right, exactly. He had to do that because he couldn't make a swing at it. And then he hits this putt, and all of a sudden,
This is number one
Unreal.
top shelf magic stuff right there.
unreal.
So with one arm, he manages to make par. And that's good enough for Texas to move on to the national championship. Texas advancing to the match play final for the second time. They did it in 2012 when they won the national championship. They are now seeking their fourth national team championship. They won in 71, 72, and 2012 and are now back in the finals here in 2016. Ryan Lavner with the coach of the Longhorns.
Coach, you're out there with Bo Hostler late on the back nine. What is his status currently?
Well, up in the air, really. We'll get some medical attention this evening and see where he's at. I mean, it was pretty significant shoulder injury. I don't know how significant it is. We'll have to see where he's at. I would imagine going into tomorrow. Right now, we'll be focused as best we can. And give Oregon the fight that we can. And if it's 5 guys, it'll be 5 guys. If it's 4 guys, it'll be 4 guys.
Coach, what did Bo say to you on 15, 16, and 17?
Well, on 15, when he hit that shot, he said, you know, Wild, my shoulder popped out. It wasn't super painful with that particular shot, but the subsequent 5-iron on 16, that was painful. The drive on 17, that was even more painful, and then the 6-iron was so painful on in the rough on the right side. It's just a freak injury because he wasn't in the rough when he hit that shot. He was on it was a side slope, powerful shot, 228 yards, you know, with a 4-iron playing downhill. But it's just one of those things where you've just got to get it assessed. Our kids will regroup. They're tough kids. We'll give Oregon everything they want tomorrow, whether if it's 4 guys or 5 guys.
How close was Bo to not finishing today?
I don't know. I can't say that. I got to believe that even if I tried to pull him off, I don't know that he would have come off. He was obviously in a really tough spot, and it was significant enough where the pain was overwhelming. So he wouldn't want to, but it might have happened, and we were praying that Scotty was going to finish off that match, and then that putt went in from 30 feet. I think the good Lord wanted us out of here today.
How do you explain that putt out of the bunker? I'm not sure I've ever seen that.
You know, he told me, he said, I'm going to putt that. I can't make a swing here. So obviously we were in a position at that point where it was going to be significant, and he went ahead and putted it because that wasn't going to put any strain on him. Then he made that other putt, which was fantastic. You know, it's a historical moment for us, kind of a incredibly physically painful moment for him and a painful moment for our team, but those 4 guys, they'll come after it tomorrow.
Does Bo's injury at all diminish the excitement about getting into the NCAA championship finals?
You know, we love that guy, so that's painful. But those kind of things that our kids will accept a challenge. You know, life is full of challenges. Life is full of difficult circumstances. We're not going to fold our tent, I promise you. We will not fold our tent. We'll be out there playing hard tomorrow.
Coach, I appreciate you stopping by. Best of luck to you guys in the finals. Ryan, let's go back to you.
Thank you both. A lot of great information there as we take a look at the season and the comparisons from 2012 to 2016. Your biggest difference in 2012 was you obviously had 5 players playing in the national championship game, something that seems very, very unlikely to take place tomorrow. A couple of the quotes there from Coach Fields that stood out to me says he, like everyone else that watches the video, says that it looks significant. None of us are a doctor. He's on his way to see a doctor, so there will be an MRI and an X-ray, and we'll have a better understanding of what is at stake. He seems like, Coach, that he's ready to go on without Bo in the lineup tomorrow. Says our 4 guys will go after it. We will regroup. Our 4 guys will not fold our tent. So even if you are giving up a point, from an emotional standpoint, is it woe is us, we're down 1-0 before it starts if they go, or do you try to rally around this?
I can't speak from experience here, but I think they'll talk about it tonight and they'll rally around it, and they'll just decide that, hey, we're gonna go out there and get after it, and we're gonna play 4-on-5. Doesn't happen in any other sport, because in most every sport that I know of, you get to replace a player or have a substitute, but. You know, there was a time in the NCAA tournament where they had a playoff between Stanford and Oklahoma State at Ohio State, and one of the Oklahoma State players had to leave early to catch a flight to go to Europe, and Coach Holder let him go. So in the playoff, they had to count all 4 scores, and Stanford, with Tiger Woods, they were counting 4 out of 5. Who do you think won?
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. So I mean,
anything can happen in match play. I do want to throw this out there, though. Why it looks like a 99-1 shot. Of course, he is at the doctor's now, and who knows, maybe it is something that they can't tape up and he can play tomorrow. So we have no information or no direct word that he won't play tomorrow. It looks unlikely, but we can't assume that it will be 5-on-4.
No, we can't. We can't assume that right now. We have to wait and see what happens on the first tee tomorrow. But this young man has a very bright future in front of him, and he needs to take care of that shoulder first and foremost. It's obviously one thing to try and help your team win a national championship, but that's why you've got teammates. And those guys, I believe, John Fields, who was at UNM when Stanford and Oklahoma State had that playoff in 1995 at Ohio State at the Scarlet Course, and Oklahoma State pulled it off. I guarantee you John Fields will bring that up tonight. And he will tell them that Oklahoma State, without Leif Westerberg, one of their better players who had to go back to Sweden, came out and they beat a Stanford team with Tiger Woods on it. So I think that he will use that as motivation. But first and foremost, Bo Hostler, he needs to take care of himself. He needs to take care of himself, and we'll see if he shows up on the first tee, taped up, ready to go.
He is under supervision now of a doctor being examined, so certainly information, Steve Burkowski, as soon as it becomes available, will be able to pass that along to us. Coach, I'm sure as a coach, you often like to be an underdog. I'm not sure we could have figured a way to get Texas as an underdog here this week, or in particular against Oregon in the national championship game, but somehow the number 1 seed Texas has now found themselves into the underdog role.
Well, there's no question about that. And even if he can play, if it's painful, golf's tough enough without it being painful. Right, Aaron?
Yeah. Oh,
I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I think there's no question about it, unless somehow he's pain-free tomorrow. They are the underdog, and they're going to have the crowd pulling against them. They got a tough road to hoe.
Absolutely. Let's continue to get some reactions from what happened out on the golf course today. Certainly a day that will live a long time here in the history of the NCAA Men's Golf Championships. Scotty Scheffler was in the group behind Bo Hostler, was then asked to play through. He spoke with Ryan Labner about what he saw going on.